Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Arthritis Broadcast Network's hashtag ACR Arthritis discussion. So it's, I think, our third interview of our third day at the 2023 Scientific Annual Meeting of the Canadian Rheumatology Association and the Arthritis Health Profession Association here in Quebec City. And I'm so happy I'm joined with two wonderful people from Cassie and Friends, so David Porte and Sonya Galbraith. I'm Isabelle Troïtzky. I'm with the Arthritis Consumer Experts and the Global RA Network. So I have plenty of questions. I don't know if we'll have enough time to cover all those questions. And David and Sonya are passionate people. So let's go. So if you could, please, one of you explain what Cassie and Friends is, the story behind it, and the evolution, because I think it's an organization that started 16 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah, you got that about right.
Go ahead, David.
Exactly. Thank you very much. So I'll give you the brief history of Cassie and Friends. We've got to cover 16 years in a very short amount of time. Mm-hmm. But started in BC in Vancouver as a parent-led organization, and we really got together to do two things. We saw that we all wanted a cure. We wanted to fund research and find a cure because we would like to get rid of juvenile arthritis once and for all and all rheumatic diseases. And at the same time, we saw that everyday kids and families were struggling in all kinds of different ways. And we wanted to help them too, because it's all well and good we're going to wait for the cure, but between now and then, they need help every day. So we really set out to do those two things. And we started in BC, and we worked away in BC for a while, having really nice success, really engaging a lot of kids and families and parents, and really working closely with the healthcare professionals from the very beginning. We had one of the doctors from BC Children's on our board because we knew we wanted to have that connection. And then fast forward to about 6 or 7 years ago, and we started to get inquiries from other places in Canada. Hey, I see that you guys are doing this thing. Are you doing it in, fill in the Canadian city of blank? And we're like, no, we're not, but okay, interesting. And so we just said, well, let's go and see. So we went to Toronto, we flew to Toronto, we did a 36-hour Toronto, Calgary, Vancouver return flight, met with the doctors in those two cities, and some parents, and we're like, okay, there's something here. Mm-hmm. And so we started expanding and working across Canada. And fast forward to now, and Sonya can fill in a little more because she represents a whole new part of what we do, is we work nationally across Canada, work in all the children's hospitals in Canada. Still with our core focus, which is our Cassie Cares program, which is all the care part for families, whether it is equipment loan, whether it is financial needs, whether it is meeting other kids for the kids, or whether it's meeting other parents for parents. It's the educational part, virtual education, all in our Cassie Cares, really focusing on how do we care for the families and the kids outside of what happens in the doctor's visits. And then we have our Care and Research Network, so we're still supporting research, of course, because we want to both get to a cure, and along the way we want to do all the things in between. Better medication, better access, knowledge translation of research, all the ways that we can help kids and families through research. And then our third is our Youth Leader Network, and we just did our first, it's great timing for the interview, because we just trained our first cohort of youth mentors, and we're building our youth leadership and our youth mentor way to get the youth involved, because it's such a great opportunity and they want to mentor others to share through their experience. Yeah. So that's a very sort of brief history of 16 years of where we've gotten to.
Oh, that seems very complete as a program. I'm happy it's reaching out to all the big areas in Canada. But how did it start? So you're both your parents of kids with juvenile arthritis.
Yes. So I'll do the very beginning, and then I'll pass this on, and she can bring her story in. So my daughter Cassie was diagnosed at 20 months with juvenile arthritis. She woke up one morning, swollen knee, wouldn't walk anymore, and it's like, okay, that's weird. Rushed to the hospital, test, gets diagnosed juvenile arthritis. Never heard of it before. Figured she's about 80 years too young to have arthritis, so I don't really understand what's going on. But I've learned a lot more since then. Kids get arthritis too. And so that brought us together with other parents that we got introduced to, and then we just got started doing things. I did a charity run. I raised a bit of money, and we got off and running.
Okay.
Like any idea, we just got off and running.
Yeah. And so you were lucky to see other parents with same
lucky we could bring
questions,
other,
same doubts.
They're all asking the same things. I feel alone. I don't know
Yeah.
anybody else. Is there anybody else that has this in the world? Like, am I the only one? What's going to happen? I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen. How do I find out what's going to happen? What is my kid's life going to be like? I don't know. What are all these medications about? And all these like gaps of like, I don't know, and don't know anybody else who is like that. Yes. So we are filling those gaps and like giving the parents the strength. One thing we learned really early, and then I'm going to stop talking. That's not that. Is that
so your turn now.
But one thing we learned really early is that we're doing two things with the kids and families. We're making the kids strong,
yes,
but also making the parents strong. Because the parents have to show up every day for their kids because they need to help them, give them medication, support them. But the parents also need to know that there's times when I can't be strong, and I'm going to find a way that I can just like go over there and not be strong, or call a friend call somebody I've met through Cassie and Friends, a friend, and talk this through but then they've got to go back to being strong because they've got to help support their kid. So we found the parents need both, and we need to support the kids. At first we thought we're supporting kids, and we're like soon realized, oh no, we are, but we're also supporting the parents. And the and friends part is their whole families. Maybe it's grandparents, maybe it's an uncle who comes, maybe it's a cousin, maybe it's a sibling. We're supporting them too. They have the same worries, fears, uncertainties as the parents do, and still are worrying about and the reason we're Cassie and Friends is because the and friends is such a big deal.
Yes,
it's all the other parents and friends and everybody around. So that's my bit of story. And then Sonya can bring in where she came and joined us, because she's really helped us grow our world and grow what we're able to do.
And so Cassie is now
18, just turned 18.
Okay.
Was 20 months,
so
just turned 18.
challenging time, transitioning, etc. So
yes.
we'll talk about that in a minute. So Sonya, what about your experience?
Yes, so my first time finding David and Cassie and Friends was in 2016 when my 6-month-old baby was diagnosed with juvenile arthritis. So similar to Cassie's story, seemed like overnight his leg was so swollen. He wasn't walking yet, but he stopped being able to roll over, lost almost all his gross motor skills. We thought, did he get his leg stuck in the crib, right? We have two older children. Did something happen that we didn't notice? So, you rush to the family doctor, the pediatrician. We actually ended up with an orthopedic surgeon who said, no, this is arthritis. And same thing, I'd never heard of this. Arthritis in children, she must have misspoken. But we were very fortunate. By the time he was 9 months old, we had met with the rheumatology team. Yeah. He had been formally diagnosed. We were able to start treatment. It was more than just the one joint that we could physically see with our eyes. It was actually throughout his whole body. Yeah. And unbeknownst to us, he was so little, chubby. He looked like a baby. But underneath all these little rolls of chubby, it was inflammation. Yeah. And so that's when I, started looking for a support network. I was the parent. I was the friend that was alone. I had never heard of this. My family had never heard of this. So on Google I go, who can I find? There's got to be more parents like me. Yeah. And I found Cassie and Friends. Yeah. And at the time, they were still only out west. But I was able to connect with them remotely even back then.
Where are you based?
I'm based in Ontario.
Okay.
So I work with the wonderful team at McMaster Children's Hospital. At the time, Cassie and Friends was only centered out west, but had a lot of online resources that I was able to access. Real information, not the rabbit hole that you find on the internet, but medically supported, evidence-based information that I could trust.
Yes.
Because you can get lost in that rabbit hole of the internet very easily. Yeah. And then fast forward a few years, I was one of the parents that David spoke with when they started getting emails. Will you come to Ontario? Will you come to Quebec? Will you come to Manitoba? So when we reached out, you heard our call, and we met, and we were able to start our expansion. And now we are working all across Canada in all the centers, and we were able to grow our program.
Oh, that's wonderful. So there is, one thing we're very adamant about Arthritis Consumer Experts is having the patient at the core of their disease journey, and being playing a key role in deciding the treatment, the care, etc., and being helped by a multidisciplinary team of healthcare professionals. So when a kid is so young, can't really make a decision. So the parents are making the decisions for them. They're growing up. Reaching 14, they're allowed to make their own decisions with guidance from their parents. Then they don't want to hear or listen to their parents any longer. And I'm talking from experience. I have 2 teenagers. So how do we manage then? And how do we manage the transition? Do we have any help out there for those kids who are 18 and who are adults and need to continue their treatment?
It's a bit of a staged process. What my experience has been, Cassie's 18, so we're heading towards that. She's got a few more pediatric appointments, and then she's going to be going to adult rheumatology. But it's really a staged process. It's as they're willing to take responsibility, they start taking responsibility. So they'll go to the appointment by themselves for a little bit, give their history, and then the parents would come in and check and say, oh, do they actually know their history correctly? They missed a few things here along the way. They made up a few things. Okay, fine. And then the next time they go and they know more. So it's really just driving that. It is a transition. It's a continuum, and it's as parents giving them the responsibility to take care of their own health and to make the decisions, be part of the decision making. And then over time, it moves to they're just going to do it on their own. But it's not cold turkey.
No.
Today, and then tomorrow, goodbye, good luck. It's really a transition as they move their way through and get the confidence to do it.
And I guess with Cassie and Friends, they are having some help from, you were talking about the mentorship program, or mentoring program, so they get some help from other kids or young adults.
Totally, that's a big deal of a way to connect them so that they have people they can ask about. Hey, what happened when you did this? Oh, did you start doing when did you start doing injections on your own? Oh, what was that like? And that they have somebody they can talk to, and they might say, "Oh, it was really terrible, but I did it and because I wanted to go away to school and I needed to do it on my own. It's terrible, but I did it, or it worked fine, or I do this, or I do that, or all those things that they can get from the youth mentors." And Sonya can talk a little more about the actual transition program, because McMaster has a terrific one.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, we have wonderful resources for parents to help even our young children get involved in their own care. So even from a young age, once they're able to start speaking, to include the children in the appointments, instead of the parents always answering the questions, but to empower them from a very young age. Okay, you tell your doctor, how is your body feeling? You tell your doctor in your words, what does your knee feel like today? How are the injections going? I think we can start empowering them from a very young age to be their own advocates. So when they do get to the age of transitioning, it's not this new concept that they have to speak to an adult doctor. It can be very intimidating for a young adult to be alone in a room with a physician.
Of course.
But if they've been practicing these skills from a young age, it's not as scary. And I think that's one of the things Cassie and Friends has done, is taught us parents to help empower our children to be their own health advocate.
Totally. It's already hard for an adult.
Yes,
absolutely.
Sometimes. Well, you said the thing. It's maybe more intimidating for the parent to not be in the room than the kid to be in the room, because they're like, well, I've always been in the room. What's going on without me? What are they talking about? Are they getting it? That's so the parents have to transition too, I'm going to be sitting in the hallway, and after they're going to come and tell me how it went, but usually I go inside. I'm in. So that we have to help the parents to transition, and all of our parent connection stuff is the same sort of thing. A parent can find another parent. Oof, what was it like when your kid transitioned? Terrifying. How did it work out? Totally fine. But how was the first day? I was scared as scared could be, because I thought, I can't let go of this. I held it so tightly. And then you've learned to let go.
We have a question.
Yes, go ahead, because I'm asking a question.
We're so excited, Karen.
I know.
The audience wants to know, do you have any tips understand that's a really hard issue. Like, sometimes your friends just don't know. Like, how do you tell someone?
So tough issue. I can share Cassie's experience, and I can share a resource that we have also. We do have a resource on our Cassie and Friends website. We used to do these in-person puppet presentations, but now we have a full video about it, which kind of can help kids see a story about how to do it. But it's a really interesting one. So Cassie was in elementary school when she was diagnosed, and so she was a kid with arthritis. She went to different high school, and she's like, "Oh, Dad, I don't know if I want to be the kid with arthritis anymore." And I said, "Okay, well, that's cool. Like do it when you're ready." She says, "Yeah, I'm going to meet new friends, and I want them just to know me, Cassie." And then she went to school, and she started. About 6 months, she goes, "Yeah, Dad, I'm ready to start telling them about what arthritis is about for me, and explain why these things happen." And so it's not really the answer to the question, but part of the answer is take a bit of the direction from the child on when they're ready and on how they want to do it. And when they're younger, it may just be part of their life anyways, and everybody will know. But as they get older, it is difficult to do. And I think it just needs a little bit of compassion from the parents on when they're ready and how they want to do it. And then the best way that we've seen is just to explain what it's about. Hey, why are you not in gym class? Oh, I'm not in gym class, I've got arthritis. Oh, what's that? Then, that's the conversation. And then just kind of explain, hey, this is what it is. It's flares and remissions. Some days I'm going to be in gym, but some days I'm not going to be. And if it's a friend, then they're going to say, how can I help you with that? Or what can I help you? Or you might just be as bold as to say, and what would be great is in the days I'm not in gym class, maybe you could just tell some of the other kids, or maybe tell the gym teacher, maybe you can help me with something that I can need, or maybe instead of gym we can do something else instead. That's and maybe you'll do that with me. And I think it's a bit of gentleness and a bit of letting your child kind of lead you in the direction that they're most comfortable with. Where some kids might be totally, I'm happy to tell everybody any day, no problem, and that might change over time.
So what? And with your son,
so my son is quite young. He's still exploring, talking about it, and sharing his story to his peers. For us, it's been about finding age-appropriate language and ways to explain it, because a 6 or 7-year-old might not understand the term flare or remission or right. So we talk about the soldiers in his body, like his immune system, and how they don't necessarily work the way his friends' immune systems work. So we try to give him language that is easy to explain to others, and so that when he does feel comfortable, again, I think that's so important, is not necessarily assuming the kids want to necessarily have their story shared or who they want to tell it, but that he has very simple language that's easy for other children to understand. Right? So if you're 6, you're not necessarily using all the same medical terminology as a 14 or an 18-year-old is using. But we use the puppets. We have fun ways to explain it. We have so many resources that can be shared with the school, right? With their teachers, with the administration at the schools, and I think that's been really helpful for me as a parent to be able to explain it to everyone in his classroom and educational setting.
Wonderful. Well, I think that's all the time we have, unfortunately.
But we could do this all day with you.
I know. Yeah, I know. I love it. And but thank you so much. You're doing a great job. I'm sure we are, comforting parents and maybe they'll talk to their kids as well about Cassie and Friends. So thank you for your time here again. Have a good rest of the conference.
Thank you.
We'll be back very shortly with another interview at #CR Arthritis. Thank you very much.